Good afternoon, lovely people. How are you all today? I hope you're well. Oh my goodness, the seed sowing goes on. So yes, I'm in the kitchen. It's not cooking today. I'm doing some more indoor sowings. Actually, just think about, yes, these should be the last things I sow indoors now. And I'm definitely getting to that stage of I don't know where anything's going to go, because I also need to start potting things on, the things that were grown earlier, more of them in a second. It does feel a little bit chaotic at the moment, and I'm sure I'm sure there are many of you who have been gardening for years and years and years who also feel that at this time of year. And one of the things I really want to mention to anyone who's just starting, was half a police siren and that was it. Yeah, anyone who's just starting, is to say at this time of year it can feel really, really overwhelming. You know, you've got packets of seeds everywhere, trying to think about timings, etc., etc. You know what? It is a bit overwhelming. That's okay. You just have to keep ploughing through your seed tin, you know, make a little note of what you want to sow this week, next week, indoors, outdoors. By the end of May, or even by the middle of May, all the sowing will have been done. And then we're at the stage of, you know, pricking out, planting out, potting on, whatever it is. So hang in there over the next few weeks with the madness. And just know that you're not alone. I just want to give you a quick glimpse of what's going on the kitchen surfaces at the moment. What I'm saying about. So these two trays here, a couple of those up that back end of the kitchen. And that's only half of what I'm going to get up to today. Hang on, let's get you back up here. Yeah, that's only half of what I'm going to do. Now, I'll get all this lot done, scoot them on out, bring the next lot of trays in, do the other half. Then I'll be thinking about potting on my earlier starts. I'm going to be here all afternoon and probably most of the evening. And in case you're wondering, yes, this is exactly the same shirt I had on 2-3 days ago when I was in the garden doing brassicas and herbs and flowers and what have you. And it was in the laundry basket. But then I thought, you know what, I'm going to get so mucky again today. It doesn't stink. So I thought, oh, you know what, chuck this on. Why make more washing for myself by making another top dirty with soil? So let's get stuck in. Actually, just before I start getting stuck in with the sowing, I just want to bring you up to speed with my indoor sowing. So I've brought a couple in here to show you. Now, I don't know, this year it seems to have been, we seem to have had quite a lot of dark days. We seem to have had really poor light this year. And I think my little seedlings on the front window, I think they're struggling, to be honest. So here's a tomato. Look, it's pathetic. It's only just, can you see that? It's only just got its first true leaf. And here are some of the peppers. This one's doing a bit better, but these three have only just got their true leaves. So normally for potting on, pricking out, potting on, whatever, I would always wait for my seedlings to get their first true leaves before I do anything with them. There was an episode about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago when things were being like this. They were being really tardy and slow, and I got fed up and I pricked things out before they properly had their true leaves. And actually, they then got away. So I'm going to, even with these real tiddlers, I'm just going to get everything pricked out and potted on today in the hopes that it'll give them a boost and let them know they need to get going. And when I do the tomatoes, so this one looks pathetic, isn't it? I will, when I pot it on, I'll be potting it right up to there. And all these little teeny tiny, I don't know if the camera can focus on that, but all those teeny tiny little hairs, they will then become roots. So yes, masses of potting on to do, and I have to say, for the second year running, I'm feeling really rather nervous about my tomatoes. I haven't completely given up hope yet, but I'm nervous. Right, and just because it's lying here, look at the state of that. Blimmin' great big twig. That's in my seed starting compost. Seed starting compost is supposed to be really fine. It's so hit and miss, isn't it, with the with compost. Okay, so what am I doing today? It's the whole of the squash family and those associated plants. So briefly, let's start with the odd bits and bobs. So I'm not going to sow a huge amount of seeds of these because they're more for fun and experiment rather than food. But I'm going to be doing my birdhouse gourd. Could eat them, but I'm going to grow them to see if I can craft some little birdhouses out of them. The loofah I'm having another go at. And then finally I've got a chocha that was sent to me by, it's called Grandad's Plot. So yeah, I'll just do sort of 3 or 4 of each of those because, like I said, they're not massively important for me if they don't work. I really want them to work because I really want, for example, I really want my own loofahs to have a little scrub in the bath and also for scrubbing plates in the kitchen. Now the serious stuff. So I'm going to do a whole tray of my long green Maracha cucumbers, and then the rest of these are all various types of winter squash specifically because they'll store really well for me. I should give you a shot actually. I should turn the camera on and give you a shot of what I've got left from last year. I'll do that in a second. So I don't bother growing summer squash, courgettes, anything like that because there are always so many being given away on my site. Oh, that reminds me, I'll tell you that in a minute too. Yeah, there's always so many being given away. I'm all giddy today, I'm having such a good day today. Yeah, I don't bother growing, they get given away. So my winter squash I'm doing again Carnival, really prolific, bush clumping type, so they're going on the ground this year, not in the cathedral. And then 2 of my good old favourites, that's the Sucrine du Berry and the Violina. So with all of these kind of slightly different ones, I just want 3 plants out of all of them, so I'll probably sow 4 or 5 seeds. What I was going to say a second ago, I've got so many things I want to tell you today. I'm a bit all over the place, I'm giddy, I'm energised today. I will also, with all of these, I'll be doing some sowings in the cold frame, some little backup sowings, probably right at the end of April, just into May. I did a few that way last year after I'd had a massive slug attack with my little seedlings I'd brought down, and actually they came good for me. So, and I just lack space at home. I mean, seriously, I need a massive greenhouse all to myself. Anyway, carrying on with the squash, I'm doing, now these 3 are all going to go into the cathedral and I'm hoping to get them to climb. I'm doing Burgess Buttercup, I'm doing Cream of the Crop, never tried it before, and I'm doing Delicata again. I love the Delicata, they're a smaller squash, which is great for me if I'm really tired and I don't feel like cooking. If I cut into it and just use half, the other half I can use the next day. It's not like cutting into a massive squash that I then have to somehow find the time to deal with it all, either cook it or get it frozen or what have you. And then finally, for my bog standard butternut, as it were, I'm doing Waltham this year. Good old Waltham. Actually, I don't think I've grown Waltham for years, but it's an absolute bog standard. So I'm going to sow 10 of these today indoors, but I'll probably do another 4 or so in the cold frame. Ideally, I would like to have, let's see now, 9, 10, 11, 6 times 3 is 18, 20, about 29 squash plants. Now that is quite a lot of squash, and if they were all growing vertically, that would be, horizontally, that would be 2 of my beds completely taken up. But like I say, quite a few of these I'm going to get them going vertically again, so then I can underplant with all my salady bits and pieces, that sort of thing. So let's get sowing. Let me just show you what I've got left from last year's harvest. So that's it. That's all I've got left. I haven't actually counted them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Oh, there's loads in the basket as well. So there's about 22 there. So they just sat there underneath my window. Yeah, so 22. Look, if I had one a week, how long is that going to last? That's 5 months. That's April, May, June, July, August. Actually, you know what? In theory, these could stretch me at one a week until the first harvest of this year's crop comes in. Yes, they probably will stretch that long. Oh, they're so lovely. Oh, look at that one. Still covered in mud. Bad girl. I didn't clean them. But yeah, they're a very happy sight, and such a versatile veg. So quick and easy, so many of the dishes I do with them. Looking at them now, I'm thinking, I want to start my supper right now. No, I've got sowing to do. So the other thing I was going to mention, so I've got thoughts going all over the place today, I've had to set the alarm on my phone for this afternoon because I know that I'm going to get well and truly engrossed in all of this. I'm going to put a load of music on, probably some show tunes. I don't know whether to start with Chitty Bang Bang or Chicago or Les Mis, but I'm going to put my show tunes on, sing at the top of my lungs. It's known to release endorphins, having a hearty sing. I know I'll get completely sidetracked, and I mustn't. I need to pop out at 6 o'clock locally to collect some chitted potatoes. Yay! So you've often heard me talk about a free cycle, where people are getting rid of something, they advertise on free cycle, you go and pick it up and it's absolutely nothing. Brilliant. Well, there's something similar. There are 2 local Facebook groups that I'm in where, I just get all sorts, pick up all sorts. And a lady advertised, or posted, should I say, a few days ago to say, I've got a load of leftover chitted potatoes, would anyone like some? Actually, it's a pretty random thing to put on there. So I jumped at the chance, because if you remember when I was planting my main crops, my order was really small this year. Everything seems small this year. It's doing my nut. Anyway, I've got half a row left. So I jumped on it and I said, oh yes, please, that'd be great. Are any of the main crops? So once you kind of establish contact that way, you then kind of take the contact privately. So she messaged me to say I'd be welcome to as many as I would like. She didn't know if they were main crops. She hasn't got a clue because it's her very first year gardening. So it actually turns out she lives just over the road from me, on the road I used to live on. So we've got chatting on Facebook, and as a thank you for her giving me some of her spare ready chitted spuds, I'm going to have a little look in her garden this evening to see if I can give her any hints and tips, because, I mean, I'm not saying, I'm no expert. Gosh, no, not by any means. No. Obviously, I've just had a little bit more experience, having been doing it for a few years. So I'm really looking forward to, A, getting some free spuds, and B, meeting this lady this evening and having a look to see where she's at with her growing, and to see if I can offer any advice. Hope so. Right. It is a giddy day. Okay, shut up, Vivi, and get sowing. Are you all screaming at me to shut up? I'm sorry, I'm on one today. Right, let me tip you down a second, show you what I'm doing. Oh, and I'm so sorry. I told you my brain's all over the place today. One last thing before I actually tip you down and we start sowing. I just wanted to say a quick shout out, a quick hello to Lydia. Hello, Lydia. So Lydia is one of my viewers, and completely randomly, she does not live anywhere near me, but she happened to be on my high street for something to do with her work, on my high street at the exact moment when I was hauling my 4th trolley load of compost up the hill to take it home. So she stopped me to say hey, and it was so lovely. It's so lovely to put a real person to the face and the sort of the name that comes in the comments. So please, wherever you are, if you see me when you're out and about, please say hello, because I love nothing more than to have a hug. Anyway, I just wanted to add that because as we left, we had a really nice little chat. But obviously she was with work and I was I was having some sort of mild cardiac event on the high street. Oh, lugging all this stuff. So we parted our ways, but I said, I'm going to give you a little shout out because I'm off home to do some filming. So, Lydia, consider yourself shouted at. Now, I really am going to start seed sowing and I'm going to try to not distract myself. The lovely thing about sowing squash is it's so easy. And the seeds are so big, they're really, really easy to handle. I think actually growing squash is a really lovely thing to do with children, partly because these seeds are so easy for little fingers to handle, but also aren't squash a fun thing for kids to then harvest? I know some of you will probably be growing some to carve at Halloween, but yeah, get sowing with your kids. There's only one rule really with planting any of this family. So let me see if I can show you. There's the seed. Big flat seed, so it's big and round that way, and then that way you can see it's very skinny and narrow. And that's the way we want to sow them. We want to sow them sort of sideways in. So not flat onto the compost like that, but on their edge. And I'm simply going to shove it in, give it a wiggle, tap the compost back, label it, put your labels in today, Vivi, for heaven's sakes. And that's it. It really couldn't be more simple. So it's simple, but obviously today it's going to be time consuming purely because I have so very many. I think probably, you know, I was saying I'll aim for about 30 good plants. So I think today indoors I'm going to be sowing about 45, and then I'll sow about 15 outside in the cold frame in about 3 weeks or so as my backups. Obviously saving, not wasting. Now, I did get sent all sorts of other squash from all sorts of lovely people this year. Now, I am going to grow them. Thank you so much for sending, but I'll probably grow them next year because quite a lot of the seed I've got at the moment, it needs using up this year. Delicata, and I think a lot of the seeds you've sent me are some spares from your orders this year, so they should be perfectly viable next year, even the year after. So let's have a little look at the delicatas. You see, so same family, you can see just how similar the seeds are. So plant it in exactly the same way. Oh, I will just show you the cucumber seeds because they are a little bit different, a little bit tiddlier. Actually, let me do the delicatas in a sec. Let me show you the cucumber first. Okay, so these are the cucumber seeds. These are my saved seeds from my harvest last year using the fermentation method. You can see they're considerably sort of smaller, less round. Actually, those three on the edge there, they look a bit rubbish, they're a bit small. So they are considerably less round than squash seeds, considerably smaller, but the principle, the sowing principle is exactly the same. Let's see if I can, I need teeny tiny fingers to do it. So you see that's the slightly more round side, and then if I turn it, you can see that's its sort of skinny side. So not that way, they will go in sideways, just as I did with the squash. And then I shall look forward to gorgeous cukes from the late summer. Yum, yum, yum. Right, I'd better get on, hadn't I? There's quite a lot to do. It's definitely going to take me most of the afternoon to do everything I've got planned with these, both the sowings and the prickings. Actually, it's the prickings which are going to take most time, so I'm not going to hang around too much more now. It's just a little quickie today, but there is one more thing I'd like to show you. Can I get them out? Oh, let me show you like this first of all. Do you remember I took my geranium cuttings? Is that going to show? Oh yeah, it does show, doesn't it? So these are the bits of geraniums. Pelargoniums, I know. Just call them geraniums and be done with it. If anyone corrects me and says they're pelargoniums, not geraniums, I will spank you. I know, but we all call them geraniums, so let's just get over it and call them geraniums. Anyway, so I took these cuttings, and let's see if I can get one out now, I think it was about the second week of January, and look, beautiful, beautiful roots they've developed. Look at, actually this one's developed roots and shoots. So look, all these beautiful roots. Look, it's little wee shoots there. I'll just pull those off and bury it. So, if you also took cuttings around about the same time, yeah, yours should be ready as well. So, all I'll do in the next couple of days with these is, I won't carry them in the glass jars full of water. I'll just wrap them just gently in a bit of newspaper, take them all down to the garden with me and get them potted up, and probably just pop them into the cold frame for now, just to acclimatise them a bit. Having said that, these have been on a north-facing window all winter. That window, I keep it open and I don't heat that room. It's my bathroom, I like a cold bathroom. So they've never gotten too warm, so they should be, just probably a week or so in the cold frame should do them. I'm just going to pop you back in your little drink for now. Sorry for disturbing your little drink. So yes, I've got 3 jars like this. I think it's a total of, it's either 8 or 9 cuttings. Brilliant. If you haven't done any cuttings yet, don't worry, you still can. I'm just wondering if I can, bear with me, I'm going to reach out for one of my mama plants. Yeah, if you didn't get any cuttings done when I was doing mine, this is one of the mother plants I took from. So I took a cutting out of here. You're not going to be able to see it's bushed up so much. I took one out of here, one out of here, one down here, and already it's really, can you see me, mother? It's really, really romping away. So in theory, I could take even more cuttings again now. I might actually sneak 1 or 2. I probably don't need to, but I'm just saying this so that if you didn't do your cuttings, you've got loads of time. You could still do some now. Where are we? We're only about the 10th or 11th of April. I'm not sure of the exact date. But if you take some cuttings now, probably by the middle towards the end of June, you'll have them with enough roots on to pop them up and get them out in your garden and have them out there for the whole of July, September, October to enjoy them. And then around about the beginning of November, obviously it depends a bit on the weather and where you are. By about the beginning of November, you can think about bringing them indoors to overwinter them again. They overwinter perfectly happily indoors, as you can see. Not only do they overwinter happily, they produce lots of babies. So, yeah, I can't wait to see them all in flower again this summer. Right, that's enough. I have to get on with sowing. So I'm going to say cheerio to you all for now. I hope whatever you're up to, well, hopefully, listen, I know some of you have still got some weather issues, but whatever's going on with the weather, I think by now we are all in the flurry of just seed sowing every day or every chance we can get. I mean, I don't have the time to seed sow every day, of course not, but you know, each week I'm thinking, right, which days or which mornings can I nab for seed sowing? So I know that the majority of you will be in that situation as well. Isn't it great? Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it giddy making? Oh! And then from after these are all done, from next week it's all about sowing in the garden again. So I'm going to be so pleased to leave behind the indoor sowings because I'd much rather be outside. Anyway, until then, I will see you soon, I hope, back in the garden. Have fun with your seeds. Don't be daunted by all your packets. Just go at it slowly and methodically, and we'll soon be picking our first gorgeous veggies out of the garden sooner than we know it. In the meantime, stay well everyone and take care of yourselves.